Welcome to Baby Dribble, proudly sponsored by SweetDreamers. Baby Dribble is a fun, friendly and free parenting advice channel. Hi and welcome back to the Baby Dribble podcast here at SweetDreamers HQ. We've had an extended break due to the coronavirus, but we're back in action and I'm going to connect with Lucy now via Skype and we're going to talk about everything to do with Caesarean sections. Oh, hi, Lucy.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for calling me.
That's okay. And we're all ready. Are you ready and set to get cracking talking about Caesarean sections today?
Yes.
So we're going to discuss what you might have to have during a Caesarean section, why you might have one in the first place, and the recovery period and stuff like that. So, Lucy, you're going to be Dr. Bates. So what is a Caesarean section?
Okay, so a Caesarean section, or you might more commonly hear it as a C-section, is a operation to deliver a baby by making a cut in the tummy. It's quite low down. It's not sort of up here, but it's low down, and it's a major operation. It's only done if safest for the baby and the mum. And from the NHS website, it says that 1 in 4 pregnancies in the UK is a caesarean birth.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was quite high, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one in 4 pregnancies. I actually had my little boy by caesarean section, so I don't want to say I know everything about it.
But you have first-hand knowledge.
First-hand knowledge, yes.
I haven't had a caesarean section, so it's good that obviously you have, so that you've got inside information on the whole experience. So why would you need to have a caesarean section?
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why you might have a caesarean. So the first is that your baby's in a breech position. So that means that your baby's feet are first. So they're the wrong way round, you know. I think sometimes doctors try and turn babies by moving the belly. But if they can't be turned, then that might be a reason you might.
I had that. I went in to try and turn. They had to try and turn George, so they had me all ready to turn him. And then when I went in the day to have him turned, he'd turned by himself. Just
he'd done it by himself. I think that's how they generally know if the babies are ready to be born, because they turn themselves around, don't they? Also, if you have a low-lying placenta, which is also known as a placenta previa, so I think it sits right at the bottom. So, of course, baby can't come out.
Obstructing it,
Exactly. Also, pregnancy-related high blood pressure, which is also known as pre-eclampsia. I think that can be quite painful as well towards the end of pregnancies. So you probably would more likely know that you'd have a C-section in that case. Certain infections such as untreated HIV. It doesn't actually elaborate too much on that one. No. Labour-related complications such as baby is not getting enough oxygen. So I suppose if the baby's stuck or...
would that be like an emergency one maybe?
Yes, and then also labour is not progressing, so you've been in labour for a long time.
2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks you've been in labour, they might give you a C-section.
And so what actually happens during a C-section?
Okay, so this is all sort of from the NHS. Of course, things happen, then it might take a different turn. But most caesareans are carried out under a spinal or epidural anesthetic. So people have probably heard of that, but you are numbed from sort of, I think it's about the waist down. So there's an injection that goes into your back, and during the procedure a screen is placed across your body so you can't see what's happening down there, probably best. And then a cut that's about 10 to 20 centimetres long will usually be made across your lower tummy and womb. Then during the procedure you might feel some tugging, which you do feel. I can relate to that. And your birth partner is usually next to you. Of course, that might be different at the moment, so I'm not sure how it works with all the COVID regulations. But the whole operation takes about 40 to 50 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I suppose that's from...
Is that from
the epidural to the end?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it didn't feel... I think it was about 15 minutes, mine was.
Yeah, it probably goes quicker when you're sort of there having the procedure. The time just flies by. Yes, yeah.
And it also says that obviously occasionally a general anaesthetic where you will be asleep may be used, particularly if the baby needs delivery more quickly. So I suppose if it is an emergency, maybe the baby's not got enough oxygen, they might put you to sleep. So yeah, both.
Wow. And what about recovery after the caesarean section?
Yeah, so recovering from a caesarean section generally takes longer. It can be that you can stay in hospital for a little bit longer, but then the time after that also takes a little while as well. So you've had a major operation, you've experienced quite a bit of discomfort in the first few days, but you get painkillers whilst you're in hospital, and of course when you go home. And you'll be offered wound care advice, so to help you look after the wound and obviously what you've got to do after with it. And when you go home, you have to take things easy, so you can't pick up anything heavier than your baby, and you can't drive for 6 weeks. So yeah, you've got to be careful. And if you do drive, then you just should probably be aware that if something happens, then your insurance might not cover you.
Of course, yes, because you've been advised, not to drive.
Yeah, I think it's to do with the emergency stop. If you stop, you can pressure on everything. So that's why.
Oh wow! And what about things that you can remember from the procedure that they don't necessarily tell you on the NHS website?
I think from what I can remember is that because mine wasn't a planned section, you have to sign a form when you're in labour, and if you've ever been in labour, you'll know that it's all a little bit crazy and it hurts a little bit. So they'll present you with a form that you have to sign. So you'll sign anything.
Shoving a bit of paper in your face. Sign this. Yeah.
Which I did. So you have to sign a consent form. Your partner can't do it for you. It has to be you.
Yeah.
Also afterwards, so the recovery time, I remember, I think because you've had an anaesthetic and you haven't moved for a little while, you are given blood thinning injections. So when I returned home, I had to give myself injections the first week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you get given all your injections and a little bin that you put them in, and then you can take it to your doctor when you're done. But so that's always fun as well. You have to do your injection afterwards. Yeah. But also if you're moving, then that can help avoid the blood clots as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, this is quite a big one, I thought. I think because when you have a C-section, your hormones haven't gone through the natural way of giving birth. Your milk takes a bit longer to come in. Yeah. So where I think everything happens when you give birth, when you have a C-section, it's all done a little bit quicker. Yeah. So your body doesn't know. So it takes a little bit longer for your milk to come in, which obviously could affect...
If you want to breastfeed.
At the beginning. Yeah. Once your milk has come in, then it's perfectly normal after that. But it can take a little bit longer to come in. So they do lots of the skin to skin with you and your baby to try and help get everything moving, basically. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. And we also did some myths, didn't we? With our Instagram followers. So thank you for everybody who took part in that. So the first myth that we had was if you have a C-section, you can't give birth naturally afterwards with future babies. Now, is that true or false? So
we asked all of our Instagram followers. So 7% said that was true and 93% said that was false. So they did quite well because it is false. You can have successful natural deliveries after C-sections, but there are some risks associated with it. So I suppose depends on the circumstances as to why you had to have a C-section previously can then depend on if you're able to next time. But you can have natural births after C-sections.
All right, and just jumping in with this odd word, caesarean section, do we actually know where that's originated from? So I've just jumped off the myths for a minute.
Yeah, we did have a look.
There wasn't someone called Mr. Caesarean.
There wasn't a Dr. Caesarean, no. So there's a couple of theories as to how it came about. Yeah. So my favourite one is that Julius Caesar, of course, because everything comes from Julius Caesar.
Yeah, the Roman times, yeah.
What did he do? I've got it. So he said that mothers that were dying during birth were to have a Cesarean section to help the baby survive.
To be removed, so that's where yes.
So of course he put his name on it.
Yeah.
That's one reason why it's called a Cesarean section. The other, probably more logical one, is that it comes from a Latin word, or the Latin word is called cedar, which means cut.
Ah, so two options.
But Caesar thought he'd throw his name and
throw his name into the hat, so that he lives on all those years afterwards. Yeah. So jumping back to the myths, our second myth: you can't hold your baby straight away after a Caesarean section. Now, is that true or false?
So our Instagram followers said 20% said true and 80% said false. So it is false. You will be able to hold your baby unless there's a medical reason that prevents this. Okay. So in my case, I couldn't hold mine straight after because he was ill. So things needed to be done with him. So unless there's a reason as to why you can't hold them, your baby would be given to you. I mean, you're lying down, so it would be a little bit awkward, but yes, you can hold your baby straight after.
Oh, good. That's all good news. And the third myth that we had is you can choose to have a Caesarean section without a medical need for it. So is that true or false?
So 70% said it was true and 30% said it's false. I definitely wanted to know this before I had a baby. So I just wanted to know if you could, or if it was like an option. Almost. It is true, you can have a Caesarean section without a medical need for it, but there has to be some requirements as to why you have to have it. So taken from the NHS website, if you ask your midwife or doctor for Caesarean, when there are not medical reasons, they will explain the overall benefits and risks of a Caesarean section. And if you're anxious about giving birth, you'll be offered the chance to discuss your anxiety with a healthcare professional who can offer support during pregnancy or labour. If your discussion and support that you still feel that it's not an option, you're entitled to have a planned Caesarean. So I think you will have to speak to a few people to decide if that's the best option for you, really. It can be quite daunting thinking about having a baby and pain, but there are also like pain relief that might help you feel a bit better about it. So I wouldn't say it's the easier option out, because there is pain during and after and everything, but I suppose it might be something that you might want to look into. Yes. So everyone did really well, actually. I was going to try and catch everyone out, but
they were all too clever. Our clever Instagrammers.
That's it. So but yes, that's the
brilliant. So thank you, Lucy, for all that information. So lots of stuff that I actually wasn't aware of there, especially your own personal experiences, which are good, sort of stuff that you probably wouldn't necessarily see on the NHS website.
No, exactly.
But that's all we've got time for today, and thanks everybody who's voted in the poll on Instagram and has listened in today. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation, and please leave us your experiences in the comment box below, and bye for now. Thank you. Hey guys, really hope you enjoyed this episode of Sweet Dreamers Baby Dribble. If you did, please share and pass it on and let us know what you think.